Welcome back, everybody. It's Lamont Tyson, the PITT Season 2, Episode 3. It is 9 a.m. at the PITT, and we got kicked off with the patient Jackson Davis. Remember him? Library boy. Got tased. Well, turns out, ladies and gentlemen, he basically got tased, I want to say, for nothing. Because we had the mall cop show up, the security officer, who they obviously let us know something wasn't right about him. They offered him medical help. He basically refused to go back there, wanting to see the police before Jackson. And he did not want to go anywhere. And then when the information came back about Jackson being negative for all drugs and everything, regardless of this campus cop's ideas, by saying the boy hit him in the head with a chair, which he might have. We don't know. They haven't given us the story. I can pretty much believe something is up with mall cop. You know, the kind of cops that you go see, all they got is a flashlight. Only difference is this one had a taser. Something is awry about him. And at the very end of the episode, you all see him walking out. Post your comments. Let me know what you think was going on with that. What are we going to hear from Jackson? Dr. Santos' patient had a conversation with the social worker. Got nothing. Dr. Santos is still on this kind of honorary belief that the dad is not going to show up. And I was talking to a couple of people in Reddit. We all believe that the dad was not an abuser. Like, they set this story up in a way where we just knew the dad was an abuser. Well, it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, Kylie had ITP, situation that gives her low platelets. But before we get to that information, there was a big blow up because dad did show up. And Dr. Santos, who can be a little overzealous in her feelings because of the things that have happened to her, which I would rather you be that way than undercautious. She was ice grilling the dad. Social worker, ice grilling the dad. And dad obviously is going through some kind of maybe a custody issue with the mom, or maybe dad or papa is a Rolling Stone, something to that effect, because he did not want the mom to know that Kylie was with the girlfriend when this situation happened. That led to an all-out brawl of a fight from this guy. I mean, he showed his ass in front of everybody. And it was kind of poetic justice that Santos got to be there when the girlfriend of 6 months just broke up with him. She just said enough is enough. Now, I don't know if she's got kids, but if she would have stuck with him, she would have had to be basically a stepmom to Kylie, who seems absolutely wonderful. I'm wishing her the best. I hope there's going to be no more stuff in this girl's story. Let her get her platelet therapy and she be good. But something tells me this story is not over. So you guys post your comments. Let me know what you think. What else is going to happen with this story with Kylie? Because I am concerned. I'm a little worried. I have to say that overall, this is an episode of do not judge a book by its cover. From patient to patient to patient, from patient to the loved ones of the patient, which include Kylie's dad, which includes Nancy, who looks good on the outside, winds up falling over from a busted spleen on the inside, to Dr. Robbie's patient, the burn victim, who gave him some good advice. And we didn't know what she had been through. But this was a whole episode of Don't Judge a Book by its cover, ladies and gentlemen. Peel back pages before you judge. Speaking of Nancy, Nancy is the wife of biker versus car. Husband, Mr. Yin, was driving the car. The man on the bike kicked the bucket. And ladies and gentlemen, as a former respiratory therapist who has worked in a hospital, you want to know what we call people who ride motorcycles of any age. It ain't got to be Robbie's midlife crisis, of any age. We call them organ donors. That's what we call them. And you saw that they kind of highlighted that in this episode. Well, the story with Nancy and Mr. Yin is that this accident happened when they was on bad terms. She was trying to help him cut some of the edge off of all his work. I guess he's got the I'm a provider, I'm going to work. And the statistics are clear, ladies and gentlemen. Most of the time, the people that benefit from a marriage the most are the men. Because if we are alone, we don't take good care of our health. We're not going to seek mental health professionals. We're not taking vacations. We're not even doing routine checkups. So she was basically being a good wife, and he was trying to be a good husband by working. But because that led them into an argument, Nancy felt guilty about this situation, which she shouldn't feel guilty. Like they said, the biker ran the light. That's not your fault, Nancy. That's not your direct fault anyway. And now he's feeling guilty because he felt like he should have took the time for his wife. And I loved how it seemed as though throughout his whole episode that he might have been paralyzed. And thank God it just happened to be low potassium. That's all it was for him. But for Nancy, who they offered her help, she refused, and they can't force you to take help, ladies and gentlemen. They can't force you to do that. And you saw my girl, Dr. Garcia, her fine self, was getting in the ass of Dr. Sexy Samara, her fine self, and Dr. Robbie. And Dr. Robbie had to take Samara's back and be like, look, I ain't got Superman X-ray vision. I don't have it. Sorry, what do you want me to do? And literally, what could he do? He could not force that woman to go in there and get care. So Dr. Garcia, Sexy Garcia, you got to pipe down a little bit here. You know, he did all he could. Hopefully you can do your job because you got superpowers too and save him. But in the end, I love how the husband overheard what was going on with Mr. Connors and his girlfriend and decided to do a video chat that he recorded for his wife. Now that does scare me, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes when you get those emotional moments where you're doing a last word and testament, the person could kick the bucket. Think about Iron Man in Avengers, the second part of Avengers, not Infinity War, the last one, where he recorded that wonderful message for Pepper. He did wind up seeing her, but he wound up kicking the bucket. Let's hope that they're not going down that road. And then we get Mr. Montrose, ladies and gentlemen. Some of y'all might famously remember him as Dr. Ock on one of the Spider-Mans. And hopefully I'm not getting my actors confused. If I am, y'all post your comments and just let me have it. But he came in here because he suffered a nasty fall. And if there's not anything you don't know about people who are 70 plus, for them, one of the worst things in life that can happen is falling. So he suffered a nasty fall, but let me tell you something. It ain't stopped him from flirting with Dr. McKay, who is cute, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. McKay is worthy of flirting. That's for damn sure. But for some reason, if you guys can recall the first episode, Dr. McKay let y'all know that ain't nobody blew her back out in a long time. And she ready for somebody to jump all up in them panty drawers and do monkey double backflips. Well, she was getting some action, but it kind of makes you wonder, was she getting the action that she wanted? So you had the black soccer player who was hollering at her, wanting to dance, after you had Mr. Montrose giving her a dance. So ladies and gentlemen, if you had to pick between the two, which one of those two is going to get her panty draws? Mr. Montrose or the black soccer player? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And then she had to go back to her patient, Mr. Williams, whose CT scan came back, folks. It wasn't good. It was not good. Dude has a mass on his frontal lobe. And this is another case of don't judge a book by its cover. I had already pinned him a nasty asshole. And guess what happens? This mass on his frontal lobe has been contributing to his behavior issues. And in this moment, when she offered him what they needed to do by getting the biopsy, he actually showed her a whole lot of respect that he hasn't been showing her. And maybe it could be because the lobe is not, that mass is not pushing on the lobe right now, or whatever the case may be. But he was very respectful for her, and they had to call an emergency contact. Lo and behold, another theme of this episode, loved ones. sharing time that you have with each other. Because I can tell you all, as mentioned in this episode, health is wealth. And you take health for granted so much until you wind up in a hospital or an ER, or you're sick with the flu, or anything puts you down for a day. You start understanding just how important your health is. So ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already done so, make 2026 the year that you focus just as much on your health as everything else in your life. And if you're in a deficit, make that health become a priority in your life and enjoy the time you have with loved ones, because his ex-wife is the contact, emergency contact. She comes in and she is just completely distraught. And it makes me wonder, is she having issues in her current marriage? Just kind of the way when he said, I found out you're married. You see how she rubbed that ring and twisted it like she wanted to take that shit off? I think that she still loved Mr. Williams, but his freak outs, his flip outs pushed her away. And maybe right now she feels a little guilty to not recognize that he has some health issues, to create his bad behavior. But at the end of the day, you can't blame her, because if you don't know that this is what's causing his switch in behavior, you don't know. And if it's never been diagnosed, you can't continue to go on and bear with someone who is possibly treating you like dirt. Now, they never said that he put his hands on her, but people know that there are worse scars than the scars of someone putting their hands on you. And she made an adult decision to go. Now, hopefully, now that she understands what's going on with him, if things are bad in her current marriage, she can kiss that dude goodbye and she can jump back into bed with Mr. Williams. Post your comments and let me know what you think. Hopefully that this mass is not cancer. Hopefully they don't take us down a dramatic road of they wind up getting back together only to find out that he's got cancer. But if he does, maybe he's got a whole lot of years left and they can enjoy those years left. We got the Hansen family, ladies and gentlemen, the Redneckville Hansen family. They all come up here, look like they just came from a Trump rally that was at a NASCAR stop. And lo and behold, someone must have lived in the country, because don't forget, I am from the country too. Hansen daddy had low blood pressure. And it's because him and all the old folks in the family are sharing the drugs. And did you guys see the picture of the drugs? It was like 110 drug bottles on the table, and they all in there commingling that shit. That's what they do sometimes, folks, in the hinterlands where they have one tooth and they hang from that tooth on the mountains. Oftentimes they do that. For whatever the reason, I don't know. But I worked in a rural hospital and I've seen cases of this over and over. Even when you tell them you don't need to do it, for some reason they still need to do it. It begs to wonder their comprehension, but they have comprehension in other areas. You should be able to have a little comprehension and don't take somebody else's pill. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments on the Hansen family, and are we done with them, or are we going to see more of the Hansen family? I thought we had a seminal moment between Dr. Robbie and Dr. Al. He asked her, are you going to keep following me? And she said, no. She said, it's time for a split. And I was like, what? Whoa. And Dr. Al, kind of funny, she's an AI person, and she calls herself Dr. Al. She said, I'm not looking for cooperation. I'm not looking for commitment. I'm looking for cooperation. And I said, okay, now they're taking us on a road where we've got to respect Dr. Al. And did you see that the report came in on the baby and they left us on a cliffhanger for that, close to the end and explain? Something is up with that baby. They didn't tell us. We're going to find out next episode. And before we get out of here, I've got to talk about the burn victim. Now, she's another case of you don't judge a book by its cover. And I say that because she's Jewish. Dr. Robbie is Jewish. And she got burned. And she got burned because she was startled by fireworks that the kids were doing. And that fireworks for her was PTSD because she was in a situation in a church, in one of her churches, where they came in and shot up the kids, ladies and gentlemen. And what was so touching to see a person of one religious sect with another person of a religious sect, the nurse that's Muslim, The patient was basically crying because when all the chips were down and they needed help, it was Muslim people of faith that helped them. And here in America, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this and you're not in America, we have stigmas, and stigmas are placed on Muslims, just like we've got stigmas placed on black people and all kinds of other people. Stigmas have been placed on Muslim in America. And it was good to see that moment that they highlighted that the best of us is usually trying to help the all of us. Post your comments and let me know what you thought about that. And I loved how she got in Dr. Robbie's ass about being a middle-aged man riding a motorcycle. You got to love our old folks, man. And she got her burn situation all fixed up. And hopefully that'll be the end of that. And then they end this episode on Westbridge Hospital, ladies and gentlemen. They got a cold black. They had to shut down for whatever the reason. Just when Robbie was starting to feel good that the PITT was getting calm, getting quiet. And when I used to work the ER, they used to always say, never say the Q word, quiet. The minute he says that, Nurse Dana gets the phone call that Westbridge is sending all of their patients to the damn PITT. What in the hell? Horrors are going to come from Westbridge. Folks, leave me your comments. Let me know what was your favorite part of the episode. And also let me know what else are you guys going to be watching this year. There's a lot of great things coming out. And I'm going to try to review a bunch of good shows this year. I'm going to be reviewing the FX show, The Beauty. Looks like it should be good. Stars Ashton Kutcher and a whole host of great cast members. And I'll be back next week with the follow-up to this episode. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get that life gain. And until that next Sex is Hell video, I'm out.